Welcome everyone once again to more Tales from the Resurrection, going back to the empty tomb of Jesus. And I want to start with something really controversial. In our society today, there's lots of talk about the role of women. What is the place of women? What was the place of women in Jesus' time? What did Jesus think about women? And what has this got to do with the resurrection? Well, we're going back to our story in Luke's Gospel, and it says this. If you want to follow it, it is Luke chapter 24, and we're on verse 9. And it says this: when they came back from the tomb, they told all these things to the 11 and to all the others. It was Mary Magdalene, Joanna, Mary the mother of James, and the others with them, who told this to the apostles. But they did not believe the women, because their words seemed like nonsense. Ho hum, men responding to women with strange stories. Sounds kind of familiar. Go back to Jesus' time, and the Jews then had a ruling where the testimony of one man was equal to the testimony of two women in a law court. It was not an equal society. But what did Jesus do? And what did Jesus think? When we look at the Gospels, we find all kinds of interesting things about Jesus and his interaction with women. There was a woman who was bleeding for many years, and he had compassion on her and healed her, even though at that time he should not even have touched her because he would become unclean. There was another famous story of a woman caught in adultery, and he treats the situation no different for the man or the woman as they were at that time. And he says, those without sin cast the first stone. And then there is a woman over in Lebanon whose child is very sick, and he has compassion on her. There's another famous story of a Samaritan woman alone at the well on midday, someone ostracized, clearly seen as a sinner and a woman. He should not even be talking to her, but he does. And he shows her the truth about himself. And then if we read carefully, we see that there were women who supported him in his ministry and who were following him with the male disciples. Again, completely unheard of. Well, so far so good. But then we come to the most amazing thing. Who did Jesus and God choose to be the first witnesses to the resurrection itself? It was those very same women. God was not saying that you need two women to have the testimony of one man. No, these women were shown first that Jesus rose from the dead. They are his witnesses. They are the first evangelists. They are the first apostles, when apostle is a messenger. They are the ones who go out with the good news. They're the ones who are responded with incredulity by the foolish men. And who were these men anyway? They were the men who had done a runner. The women had stayed. The women had stayed to witness the cross, and the women were there for the resurrection. For Jesus, women do all these things. The women are the ones who witness to him. Of course, it doesn't exclude men. But as we read these stories, we have to realize that we too can say, yes, he is risen, be it man or woman. He is risen, he is resurrected, he is alive, and he is with us now. This is our story. This is the story we have living within us. Jesus risen from the dead, the one whom we know day by day, the one who answers our prayers, the one who comes to us, the one whom we know in our hearts, and the one whom we will meet one day, our risen Saviour.